Australia takes the lead in this fifth test match, and now England are favourites. So yesterday Australia were well favourites at 1 for 60, and now Australia take the lead and England take control of this test match. I'm not sure how that exactly works. They must have been like 75% favourites when Australia was 7 down for a couple hundred there. So yeah, very, very interesting day. Obviously, England bowled incredibly well. What's funny to note there is the 54 and a half overs it took England to get their 283 and the 103 it took Australia to get theirs. So as you see here at the beginning of this innings and the beginning of this day, that Uzi and Marnus found it really tough going. And as I believe it sits in seventh or eighth slowest ever score, so lowest ever strike rate, I should say, for the amount of runs that he ended up getting there at 9 off 82. So it's actually something you don't see very often from Marnus. Like at worst, you might find him at a 40 odd strike rate, just a tad under a run every 2 balls. And this one here found it very, very tough. And then Usman as well was the same at 47 off 157. So plenty of balls in there at a 29.94 strike rate. So as I said, really, really tough to score in the beginning of this day. And you can commend the Australians for being able to get through the majority of it. Obviously, Marnus didn't get any spoils at the end of it, and that's the worst part of it. Obviously, for him is that he worked so hard to then get out for 9 there off the 82, and it was an absolute specky of a catch by Joe Root. Bairstow did not move at all, but lucky Joe for England anyway that Joe was able to take an absolute specky behind him there at first slip. So that obviously started things off there, and then Uzi was able to bat that little bit longer and got another 24 runs he put on there with Smithy that came in next. And you're looking at that fall of wickets there, and at 2 for 91 is it's not the worst position. 3 for 115, it's okay there. Obviously Travis Head went fairly early after that, and it was pretty consistent wickets. And you look there and you go, oh, okay, Aussies will probably get out around the 210 or so mark, but obviously Smithy being in there for the long haul. And then some really, really nice contributions from Pat Cummins and also Todd Murphy, who we'll get to in a second. But yes, across the board there, if you're looking at the wickets, Travis Head one had a lovely on drive and then nicked the next ball. So that was a really nice pill by Stuart Broad there for a snick through to Johnny. And then Uzi's there, LBW off Broad, just continues to get out the same way that I've been speaking about, where he walks forward, his hands are in front of his pads, and he either nicks it, he gets bowled, or it's away. And that's pretty much the way he gets out at the moment. Other than that, he just bats so well. So it's unfortunate that is the thing that's getting him. And in this one, it did take 157 balls to get there. So it shows that for the most part, he's batting really, really well and able to get through that type of delivery. But on this occasion, wasn't to be. Unfortunately there, yes, ahead went Mitch Marsh was, finally Anderson got a wicket. It's been a little while. And I think it's the 6 in the Ashes in 5 games for him. Or close to it. He's played 4. Yeah. So 16 off 28. Mitch Marsh came out with a lot of aggression, got a 4, got a 6 fairly early, walked down the wicket a few times, and unfortunately, just chopped on in that one. My main worry at the moment is actually Alex Carey and the way he is batting. And you look there and you go, okay, beautiful, a 6, he's got a 4 in there, and then a lot of dots. Obviously, his 2 scoring shots were the 6 and the 4, and it seems like the aggressive approach is the only way for him to score runs and hit boundaries at the moment. And the singles and the 2s aren't there at the moment. And just the way he got out, obviously, Joe Root's done this on purpose. He's got a short cover in there and just floated it up there, spinning away on a nice length, and Carey's taken the bait, unfortunately. And he just seems to be getting, finding ways to get himself out or falling for traps at the moment, whether it's the short ball, whether it's this one here with Joe Root. Very unfortunate there. And put Australians in a bit of a tough position coming into the rest of this innings. And by the time Alex went, it was 6 for 170, which was brings the bowlers in. Obviously, thankfully, Smithy's still there on 30 odd at this point, but definitely a tough position. Wasn't long after this that the Smithy run out incident happened, and I'm very, very impressed with the third umpire there. Actually, I'm not sure his name. I think it'll say it somewhere up the top, I believe, but that's okay. So how that worked, guys, if you aren't sure on that one, the stump was dislodged, and it looked like he'd hit it just before with his arm, just before that middle stump. And the middle stump actually went a little bit without the barrel following, and it did go eventually, obviously, but by that time, his bat was in the crease. So very impressive for him to see that, and everyone thought it was out straight away. Smithy was walking off because he could see the stumps were dislodged, but the bails had not come off the off stump and the leg stump, and they hadn't moved. You saw the stump was well back, but the bails hadn't moved, so that was very, very lucky for Smithy in the end. It would have been a nice, it was the sub fielder for England, and to get a lovely run out like that, unfortunately wasn't to be. So yeah, Bairstow wasn't able to take the bails off, which is what you need to do, dislodge the bails to affect that wicket there. And Smithy then ended up going on to get another 30 odd runs, which was very, very helpful for the Australians. And we spoke about him as being the guy that needed to step up, and he eventually got the 71, and did try to slog that one over the leg side and ended up top edging it over the back, and a good catch from Bairstow there. But it would have been nice for Smithy to go on to get a ton, especially because Cummins was in there. I think he'd faced 50-ish balls by that point. By the time that Smithy got out, and then I suppose it worked out okay that Todd was able to come out and score some runs, because if he didn't, if he was able to get out early and then Hazelwood comes in and gets 6 or 10 or something like that, then Aussies are 240, 250 all out, and well behind in this test match. But so Pat, his batting is improving dramatically at the moment, and obviously you got caught in the boundary in this one. A great catch from Stokes, but just wanted to speak on Toddy Murphy, and was able to really smash Mark Wood and his short bowling, and some of them were on his hip, a little bit above that, and he was absolutely middling him for 6, and he got 3 6s and 2 4s in that, for 26 runs off boundaries there, and scored almost a run of ball there. At one point, I think it was 24 for 18, which was great, and just gave the Aussies a little bit of momentum there. So picked up 2 wickets with the ball, 34 runs here was very, very impressive before he went to a nice ball from Chris Wokes there. So yeah, shout out to Todd, and obviously Pat for batting really, really well, and then Hazelwood getting a 4 there. So turning to the bowlers just to finish this off, and Stuart Broad bowling terrifically again, 2.5 and over, just continues to take wickets. Anderson a little bit more expensive than some of his counterparts in this game. Usually he's been the one that was very economical, but everyone bowled really well in this one. Mark Wood, another 2 wickets at 2.8 and over, which was great. Chris Wokes, beautiful again, averaging that 20 like I keep talking about. With the ball in England, he keeps doing it. Joe Root, the 2 wickets as well, so very helpful. On his front, he got the last one, obviously, of Cummins. And that's that. And then Brooke bowled 3 overs as well. So Moeen Ali not bowling in this one. That's hurting them a little bit, but should be okay if Joe Root can continue to do that. Hopefully, Joe can do really well in that second innings as well. It's going to be really fun with 3 days to go. My thoughts from here. So England come out, and I think they're going to need at least 300. That'll get them a 290-ish lead, and I expect that they will be able to do it. I think the pitch is good enough. As England just showed, if you bowl well enough, you can restrict a team and then take wickets off the back of it. So if Australia can do the same thing, then they might be able to dismiss them under 300. But I would be expecting around that 3. If they can get anywhere around the 350 mark, I think England win. If they sit at that 300, I think at 290 chase wouldn't be too bad. Anything under that, I think Australia win comfortably. So that 300 mark, 290-ish lead, I think is par, and has a 50% for each way. And then anything below and anything above, as I said just then. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I think Joe Root's obviously going to come out and be the guy that I think that Australia need to get, along with Harry. They're the 2 at the moment that I think are the most damaging. The rest of the guys, you expect them either to get out early or score something decent, obviously, in Crawley, Duckett, Moeen Ali. But it's up to their 4 and 5, I think, in Joe Root and Brooke. And hopefully Starkey can bowl another beauty to Ben Stokes. But they're the guys I'm worried about. And obviously, Bairstow and Stokes missed out. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in this one. And I hope you enjoy day 3's proceedings.